Hello, I'm Martha Josie, and this is my husband, R.E. Josie, and Team Josie, Ty and Lisa Mitchell. And this is our favorite Dale Steege from MVP. And this is a company that we are very fond of here at Josie Ranch. And barrel racers everywhere, right, Ty and Lisa?
Yes,
Ma'am.
this is a great company. They do a lot. They don't not only put out great products, but they do a lot for barrel racing in general, as far as putting money back in some big shows, and we're grateful for that, Mr. Dale. And you know, we travel all over the country doing clinics, and we get a lot of questions, don't we, Lisa?
We do. What good supplements can I give my horse that's going to make its joints last longer? Because you know it's hard hauling out on that road. You know, I saw on Facebook just this morning a girl was asking, "Hey, you WPRA barrel racers out there, what do you do out on the road for the longevity of your horse to keep it up and running and winning?" What do you think about that, Mr. Dale?
Well, I think it's a big challenge.
That it is.
There's obviously different avenues that a lot of these gals choose to go down with or down the road with certain products. Fortunately, the Exceed 6-way that MVP has been really outstanding in supporting these horses with their joints and ulcers and overall vitality of the horse. Exceed is just one of those products that's all-encompassing in that it can, again, support high level for the joints, provide some ulcer support, digestion and maintaining the integrity of the colon, keeping their appetites, good hair coats and so forth. So it's really kind of been a real go-to product for most of these gals that are, or any of the people that are out there really trying to do the best they can to support that effort of keeping that horse's vitality up and healthy.
That's right.
Well, and one thing that impresses me about y'all's product, tell us a little bit about the differences. You know, there's a lot of products out there, but one thing that's always stuck in my mind was the quality of the product and how it's processed. And I believe you mentioned one time that it's a pharmaceutical grade product, and kind of explain a little bit about what goes
Okay.
into that.
Ty, that is probably what separates out a lot of these products, and it's a real challenge for the users to know that.
Well, there's
but-
a lot to choose from.
Yeah, and the MVP products are pharmaceutical grade ingredients. They're tested, they're assayed for potency and purity, and then there aren't any big secrets about these products. It's really got to do with if the purity and the potency is there. These products are produced under FDA guidelines or protocols, so we know what's in them. We know the levels that are reflected on the label are in the product. So typically, in general, in order to get a result or where a user sees a difference or feels a difference in a horse, these levels got to be really high.
Right.
And that really kind of separates Exceed out compared to even some of the other products that we have in the marketplace. But they have to be potent. They have to, because a horse doesn't utilize all of these ingredients or active ingredients when you give it orally. So this has really kind of made a huge difference with.
Well, I know in our horses, I've seen a change, and we get a new horse in, and after 30 days of being on it, you know, their hair coat looks healthier, and their appearance, they just look healthier. And so it makes me feel like it's working, and when I can see that kind of
Yeah.
difference, I feel good about it.
We actually are confident enough about Exceed as an example or any of these products that if an individual isn't satisfied with what they see or feel in their horse after 60 days, we would actually refund their cost and effort of using the product. So
Well,
That's because you know that's not going to happen. I use Exceed myself. And my mare, I started her at 3 years old, and then at 16, 17, I'm starting to take her to the vet. They camp her up, trot her out. At least this mare moves like $1,000,000. But I put her on your product from the time she was 3 years old as a preventative. And I truly believe that made her last longer, so I don't think you're going to have to give any money back, Mr. Dale.
well, that's good. But it is really key, Ty.
Yeah.
the level of the, we know that glucosamine, excuse me, will help joint support. We know that hyaluronic acid will help joint support. MSM because it's very anti-inflammatory. But then the big question is, at what levels are those ingredients in the product?
Right.
Well, we've done enough field studies and research, and there's enough science out there that we know that, for an example, on glucosamine, we need to have 10 or 12,000 milligrams in a serving to get a real positive push or benefit. So, again, there's no secrets to these better products. It's just whether or not we're starting with real potent, pure ingredients and then in there at high levels. So,
Well, and like Lisa's saying, she started her horse as a 3-year-old on it, and I'm thinking that's a little overkill. I always had the mindset that horse that had arthritis needed that help, but really that training when they're young has a lot to do. That's when they don't get arthritis because they're old, but they get it because of the training they do
Yeah.
when they're younger, and it is it's good on the young horse as well. Is that
yeah.
right?
Yeah, Texas A&M had done a study here 2 or 3 years ago on actually like on 2 to 4-year-olds that were put in intensive training.
Right.
They actually, in this study, had injected the hocks and the joints on these horses with an inflammatory agent.
Right.
It was actually an E. coli type extract organism to cause inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
And they, in the study, they just used glucosamine to determine if it had any impact on, a result. But they used it at like 13,600 milligrams and had some very positive responses on inhibiting that process, and in some cases where the cartilage actually had a little bit of regeneration. So,
Really?
we've had enough science now in our industry that we've got a better handle on maybe the levels and the different ingredients that at least have the potential. There are some horses, percentage of them, that may not respond in a positive
Right.
manner. But, it might only be 10% of them or 5%. But actually, Exceed is one of the few products where there's actually been clinical trial
Oh, that's neat.
done on the effectiveness of joint support and osteoarthritis and so forth. So it's got a lot of integrity in the background of what the product is all about and
Right.
potentially what it might be able to do. But a user needs to see a difference or feel a difference, or they shouldn't be using the product.
That's right, and proof's in the pudding, and we've been satisfied with it and definitely see positive results from using it, and it's a great product.
We've actually as of January, excuse me, we've added, we bumped the product integrity up a bit. We added some lysine to the product, 2,000
Oh, that's
milligrams.
good, yeah.
And lysine is an amino acid that has a tendency to help maybe give us a little better muscle core
Right.
on a horse, because muscle is made up of protein. A side benefit of the lysine is it helps stimulate the immune system.
Which is very important, especially when you're hauling, and
Yeah.
the stress of hauling is almost as much trauma to the horse as the run itself, and
Right.
that is very important.
So, anyway, we always believe we can do better.
Well, y'all do a great job, and it's been great working with y'all, and thank you for spending the time with us today, and check out MVP Exceed 6-Way.
Very good product.